Hi everyone, this is Sumay from Tulip here today, and I'm here to walk you through a new brake beam sensor unit test application. The brake beam sensor unit test application essentially demonstrates and shows you how to actually use a brake beam sensor to see and trigger various different step logics. So this application, what we're going to see is that there's going to be a green box on the screen, and when I place my hand in front of the green box, the brake beam sensor is going to trigger and the box is going to turn green. And when I take my hand away from the brake beam sensor, the sensor is going to trigger and the box is going to turn back to gray. The idea behind this application is to essentially display and demonstrate how brake beam sensors can be used in various different ways to trigger step logic and to trigger app logic. And we have various different tests, which is a pin up unit test, a pin down unit test, as well as just a connectivity unit test. So jumping into the app to actually understand what we have out here. What we have is a connectivity unit test initially, which asks us for an output pin input and the corresponding IO pin, so we can actually power up our brake beam. The output pin is actually used to power up the brake beam, and the corresponding IO pin is used to actually understand which IO pin is being used to detect and notice any changes and any sensors detected by the brake beam. We have two different types of tests, which are a pin up test and a pin down test. And the way the pin up test and pin down test works is that the pin up test is essentially being used to detect when a pin up motion is detected by a brake beam, which means that when you pick materials from a bin, if you place your hand in front of a brake beam, the pin up will trigger immediately and your brake beam sensor will actually notice that sense at that moment. Whereas in a pin down test, what happens is that when you place your hand in front of a brake beam in a bin and remove your hand from the bin, the sensor will trigger when you actually remove your hand from the bin, and that is what is the difference between pin up and pin down. And this app allows you to essentially use and differentiate between pin up and pin down and understand which is the best one for you, as well as also run a basic connectivity test to actually understand whether your brake beam is actually functioning correctly as intended. So to test this out, I'm actually going to put in an output pin of 8 and a corresponding IO pin of 1 to power up the brake beam connected to that particular area so we can actually test it. And moving my hand in front of the brake beam, what I see is that the box turns green, and when I move it away, the pin down motion is triggered and it turns gray, and back to green with the pin up motion, and back to gray with the pin down motion. And this is how brake beam sensors work. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at support.tulip.co, and thanks for following along.